Welcome everyone to Train Tuesday. I'm your host Jim Wiggin with Athearn, and we've got some great stuff to talk about today. We're going to be talking about EMD locomotives, specifically GP40-2s from Athearn Genesis, and N-scale guys. So stick around. We're going to be talking to you guys as well. We're going to have HO and N-scale Athearn Genesis autoracks. So if you're a fan of those, go ahead and sit down, grab the beverage of your choice, and let's get started. Now, while I'm thinking of it too, if you do like the content that Athearn brings you on a weekly basis, please do us a favor. Feel free to comment, feel free to like, but most importantly, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video like this drops into our channel. Let's get started by talking about the GP40-2. Now, by the early 1970s, many first-generation diesels, well, they were reaching the end of their service lives. Railroads were forced to make a choice. They could either rebuild these locomotives or they could buy new. Now, one of the most common replacement locomotives became the EMD GP40-2. Now, EMD began production of these models in 1972, and the 16-cylinder turbocharged 3,000 horsepower engine fast became a favorite to many Class 1s and subsequently many short lines. These locomotives were developed for service where higher horsepower and faster service was preferred. A major feature of the GP40-2 was the introduction of the -2 modular electrical cabinet. Now, for more than 40 years, the GP40-2 has worked mainline freights, locals, switching jobs, yard service, and helper service. Many of these locomotives are still earning their keep on many railroads even to this day. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the latest announcements from June. And let's start with looking at the GP40-2 that we see here. Now, this one's probably not available. Chessie does tend to sell rather quickly. However, if you're really interested in this Chessie, Baltimore, Ohio 4294, you may be able to find it online. The item number for this model is ATHG 65176. Again, ATHG 65176. Now let's go ahead and start talking about the locomotive lines that we're going to be offering for the month of June. Now you have until Friday, June 28th, to place your pre-orders on everything that we talk about on this program. We're going to start with Denver Rio Grande. These are 1990 era locomotives. After the 1988 merger of Rio Grande and SP, many locomotives were modernized. During the 1990s, ditch lights were added to locomotives for added visibility at grade crossings. While keeping their nose-mounted gyro lights, front ditch lights, and cab beacons were added to many Rio Grande units. By the late 1990s, however, those gyro lights and beacons were removed. We're going to show them with both because we know you guys love lighting features. Now, since this is Genesis, there are three similar locomotives that you see on your screen. However, there are some subtle differences, and let's go over those. The first locomotive you see is 3100. It's going to come from the factory as it appeared in the 1990s with a silver gyro light bezel, Rio Grande logo on the nose, and no cab vent. 3116, there in the middle, will have a silver gyro light bezel, no Rio Grande logo on the nose, a cab vent on the right-hand side. Finally, 3121, the one on the bottom of your screen, is going to feature a black gyro light bezel, Rio Grande logo on the nose, cab vent on the right side. Now, all three of these locomotives will have common details, including they're all early body styles, which means they have the wire grills. They're also going to have lit number boards and class lights. Now, when I say that, that means you have to get the Tsunami 2 equipped versions because those lighting features are only available to the Tsunami 2 equipped versions. Also, those cab beacons, those are also functional with the Tsunami 2. We'll also have front ditch lights, Nathan P3 horn mounted on the long hood, and these will have the small EMD front plow. We're going to go on next and go back in time a little bit to the 70s. And we're going to talk about the 1978 era Southern Pacific. So in 1978, SP ordered this batch of locomotives. SP seemed to be impressed and ended up ordering 4 more batches, including some for the subsidiary, the Cotton Belt. Now, SP specific features include a 4-hole jacking pad, Nathan P3 horns, large L front window, and the full SP light packages on both ends. So here we have those 3 as delivered as they appeared in 1978. Now these will all come standard as they appeared in 1978. So as delivered appearance, cab roof mounted bell, standard exhaust, split battery box doors. All of these that you see here, 7614, 7617, and 7625 will have those features. Again, these are the day they left LaGrange and started working for the SP. But we're not done with the SP. There's one more SP locomotive that we're going to be producing. And Kodachrome has gotten extremely popular over the last few years. From SP's third order of GP40-2s, we are pleased to announce their only GP40-2 in the Kodachrome repaint. This is SP number 7672. Now, this came about from the failed Santa Fe SP merger of 1986. Now, in anticipation, many of these units were repainted into this bright scheme, in which was later terminized by rail fans as the Kodachrome. Now, if you're younger than 40, you probably are wondering why, because back in the day, rail fans used Kodachrome slide film for their cameras. It was a popular choice for many rail fans. And the colors of Kodachrome packaging was red and yellow. And oddly enough, this paint scheme, as striking as it is, looked a lot like Kodachrome. Now, some of the features of not only the as delivered that we talked about previously, as well as the Kodachrome from 1987, they're all going to feature lit number boards and class lights. Again, remember, those lighting features are available with the Tsunami 2 versions. They're going to have the SP style L style front window, large front plow, roof mounted AC, SP full light package with gyro lights, again, effect and DCC, and an operating red warning light when an emergency. Again, DCC only. Folks on the East Coast and in the South, don't worry, we've got you covered. We've had a lot of requests for CSX, and we definitely want to help you guys out. Now, we're showing 3 different locomotives. They span 2013 to 2022. Using CSX current YN3 or dark future scheme popularized in the mid-2000s, CSX revamped their logos to the boxcar, or sometimes called the YN3B scheme, starting in 2011. Repainted on many different diesel locomotives and some freight cars, we are offering this scheme in 3 road numbers with road number specific features. Now remember, CSX was made up from many different railroads when the GP40-2s were originally announced in 1972. So we're going to have some really unique differences here. Let's start with the first locomotive, CSX number 6203. Now, era for this locomotive is 2018. It's a former Baltimore and Ohio 4304. It's going to feature a large EMD front plow, ratchet nose brake, cab-mounted skate-style antennas, Blomberg M trucks. Coming up next is a former Western Maryland unit. This one here is a 2013 era, and this is going to feature the large skinny-style front plow, electronic nose brake, cab-mounted skate-style antennas. It too will have Blomberg B trucks, and it's going to have the RV-style AC unit that you see on the cab. Finally, we've got number 6237. This is a relatively newer locomotive as far as era. This is a 2022 era. Again, another former Baltimore and Ohio unit. This was formerly unit number 4338. It has a removed front plow, electronic nose brake, Blomberg B trucks, and RV-style AC unit. Now, common features across the board with all 3 units. They're all former Chessie, of course. They're going to have the mail slot battery box doors, which was kind of a Chessie thing. They're all going to have lit number boards, side hood mounted bell, 5-chime horn, road number specific details like we just discussed. Alternating flashing ditch lights. I get a lot of questions for that on Train Tuesday. Yes, these will have alternating flashing ditch lights when the horn is depressed. And again, that's an effect in the Tsunami 2 equipped versions. We've also had a lot of input from CSX experts as far as the artwork. So all this artwork has been approved by experts in their field of CSX. All right, we're going to go to some prime for grime. Prime for grime is always popular, and this one is no exception. We've got two locomotives here, and they're going to span from 2004 to 2016. After the UP merger of 1996, quite a few SP GP40-2s soldiered on still in their original colors. To quickly renumber them into the UP locomotive numbering system, a simple yellow patch was applied to show off its new owner. As most units received a full coat of UP Armor Yellow and Harbor Mist Gray, a few managed to escape the repainting, still showing the original owner's markings, albeit with faded colors, and many of these lasted well into the 2010s. So we've got two former SP units here to show you. The first one, GP40-2 UP1376, is era 2004 to 2009. It's a former SP unit number 7608. It has a roof-mounted bell, welded nose warning light cover, standard exhaust, cab-mounted horn, and large EMD plow. The next locomotive, 1413, is a former SP unit number 7662. Its era is about 2016, and it has a frame-mounted bell, plated nose warning light cover, exhaust silencer, long hood-mounted horn, large UP-style front plow. Now, both will have some standard features as well, including patched units with faded colors, which Prime for Grime is known for. These, of course, will have lit number boards, removed SP light packages, front and rear ditch lights, large front plow. And you look carefully on these, you'll see that they have a modified front L window and roof-mounted AC. Now let's talk about a locomotive and a paint scheme that's relatively recent and one that's getting a lot of attention, and that's Florida East Coast. Now, the two paint schemes that you see, the standard corporate colors, are 2023 era, whereas the Veterans unit is brand new, it's 2024. So after FEC was purchased by Grupo Mexico in 2017, small lettering was added to some of the locomotives displaying the new owner. As of recently, a new paint scheme was unveiled on a number of their locomotives. We are excited to announce a run of GP40-2s in this colorful scheme, including an Honoring Our Veterans 2024 repaint. FEC's latest veterans paint scheme on the number 430 is a thank you to veterans for their commitment, bravery, and sacrifice for this country. Really cool paint scheme. It's getting a lot of attention in the railfan community. Really exciting to see this kind of a paint scheme. And we're going to start with Florida East Coast number 414. That's the top one on your screen. This is an early phase body, so it's going to have the wired rails, no front anti-climber, Blomberg M style trucks, non-dynamic rounded blower housing. Its stablemate number 421 is a mid-phase body with corrugated grills, large front anti-climber, Blomberg B trucks, non-dynamic rounded blower housing. And then finally, the Special Veterans Unit, number 430. It's a mid-late phase body with corrugated grills, large front anti-climber, Blomberg B trucks with dynamic brakes, and an angled blower housing. So brand new paint schemes, first time we've ever offered these in Genesis. They are going to have lit number boards, 3-chime horns on both ends, RV-style AC units, road number specific details like we just covered, front weed cutter plow, and front and rear alternating flashing ditch lights when equipped with Tsunami 2. We're going to go back to the 1970s with a road that has been wanting some attention lately, the Richmond, Fredericksburg, and Potomac. This is 1972 when these GP40-2s were brand new. Now, the RF&P's long history dates back to the early mid-1800s, where it originally ran from Richmond to Potomac River via the Fredericksburg in Virginia. When they started to dieselize back in 1940, they purchased a few Alco switchers. By 1950s, however, RF&P's diesel roster was primarily EMD. Liking the performance of the EMD GP35 and GP40, they purchased 7 GP40-2s in 1972. After being absorbed into the CSX system in 1991, the GP40-2s were patched, then repainted into the then new CSX corporate colors. An oddity for CSX, these units stand out as being part of the few non-dynamic road units on their roster. These are going to appear exactly as they got them on day one from delivery from LaGrange. So this is a 1972 era model. They're all going to have the same features. We're offering road numbers 141, 142, and 145. Features on the RF&P include, this is an early phase body with the wire style grills. They are non-dynamic, lit number boards and class lights, again with Tsunami 2 equipped versions. As delivered appearance, Leslie 3-chime horn, footboards on both ends, large Sinclair antenna, and Blomberg M trucks. Now we're not done. We've got one more locomotive to talk about, and it's a special one. It's one that we've done in the past. However, we have updated the artwork to be a little bit more accurate. This is the Chessie system. This is an era 1972 to 1983. Now, why is it painted gold, you ask? Well, to help celebrate EMD's 50th anniversary, a Chessie system GP40-2 was painted in an eye-catching gold scheme. After being displayed at EMD's LaGrange, Illinois open house in 1972, it operated as a regular road unit mixed with other Chessie painted locomotives, occasionally being used for special company events. By 1983, the lettering was slightly modified to be wider on the cab sides. In April of 1984, it was fully repainted into the orange and vermilion and blue corporate colors, orange, yellow, and blue corporate colors, and renumbered to B&O 4164. Now, it still operates today as CSX 6063 in their YN3 scheme, and there has been talk of it being preserved in a museum after its official retirement. I don't know about you, but I think it'd be pretty cool to see this on display as it originally appeared in 1972 in this gold paint scheme. So the features of this locomotive, this is a re-release, but it does have updated artwork. It is an early phase body, so it has the wire grills, lit number boards and class lights, Leslie 3-chime horn, Chessie style rock plows, side body mounted bell, Chessie walkway mounted tool basket, and Blomberg B trucks. It's a great model. You're going to want to go ahead and pre-order that or any of the GP40-2s. Now, some of the details that come standard with these GP40-2s. Lit number boards, if you go with Tsunami 2, lit class lights if equipped. I say that because there are some on here that, depending on the era of the model, class lights weren't used anymore, so they've obviously been patched or not added. Lit signal lights and or beacons if equipped. Again, it's going to be based on the unit. Obviously, the Denver Rio Grande is going to have those beacons, so they will be lit. Bell placement and type per prototype. Detailed fuel tank with fuel fillers, fuel gauges, and breather pipes. Blomberg B or Blomberg M trucks with appropriate bearing caps, again, based on the model on the prototype. Speed recorders, unless otherwise noted, and see-through cab windows with a full cab interior. Again, that is just scratching the surface on the detail of these models. They are available as DCC ready or complete DCC with sound with the Tsunami 2 Soundtracks decoder. Contact your dealer for pricing. Again, get these in and pre-ordered before the end of June, and that's coming up on Friday the 28th. The next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about autoracks. Now we're going to be offering these in both HO and N scale. The cool thing about the N scale versions is they are now been upgraded to Genesis status. But let's talk a little bit about the HO scale ones first. Now the one that you see on your screen here, this is F89F bi-level Autorack for the southern route. It is road number 930190. And if you're interested in this model, we are completely out in our distribution center. However, you may be able to find these at your local hobby shop or your favorite online retailer. The part number for these is ATHG 69574. Again, that's ATHG 69574. Now let's talk about the roads and the road numbers that we're going to offer for the month of June. We're going to start out with the Frisco. Now the Frisco is going to be offered in 3 different road numbers. The reporting marks of the Frisco is SLSF. Also remember, the flat cars themselves were owned by Trailer Train, so you also have TTBX for reporting marks. The car number on the one on your screen is 910417. We're also going to offer car numbers 910421 as well as 910425. In the middle, we have the Northern Pacific. The Northern Pacific's reporting marks were NP. Since this is a Trailer Train flat car, it is also BTTX, and the number is 913437. We're also going to be offering car numbers 913605 and 913671. Again, non-duplicating road numbers. And then finally, a Midwest favorite, Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy. Their reporting marks, of course, are CVQ. And again, since it's a Trailer Train flat car, it is a BTTX, and the reporting number on this car is 930170. We'll also offer car numbers 930173 and 930179. Southern is going to come back. We have a lot of requests for Southern material lately, so we're definitely going to listen to you guys. A Southern car here, of course, reporting marks are SOU, and again, since we have a Trailer Train base, it's a TTBX as well. Car number is 900089. We're also going to offer car numbers 930227 and 930244. Now the Southern all the way back up to the Frisco, these are appropriate for 1960s into the 1970s. Now, for the next 2 cars, we have put these under our legendary liveries. These did technically not exist in the real world, but it's plausible that they could have. So we had a little bit of fun with this. We tried to make them as plausible as possible, but we're going to start out with the Rock Island, of course, in its later version, the Rock paint scheme. The car that you see on your screen, reporting marks are ROCK, and the number is 93056. 2 additional Rock Island cars will be offered, numbers 93057 and 93058. And we're also going to do some Norfolk and Western, again, part of the legendary liveries line. These didn't really exist, but we're trying to make them look plausible. Reporting marks on the Norfolk and Western is NW, as well as TTBX, and the car that you see here is 910533. 2 additional cars will be offered, 910537 and 965306. Now those cars would be appropriate in probably the 1970s in an alternate universe. Now the features on the HO scale Genesis cars, and there's quite a few. For one thing, these are authentic Whitehead and Kale's Autoracks. These are actually based on those models. So they're authentic in every way. They have a die-cast underframe, authentic undulating safety railing that you can see here, early or late train lines and cut levers per the prototype and the era, customer installed end bridge plates. They're included in the box where applicable, wire form brake plumbing, separately applied handbrake per prototype, separately applied wire grab irons where applicable, prototypical ride height. They're all going to include 70-ton roller bearing trucks with animated rotating bearing caps, trucks with animated rotating bearing caps, like I said. Accurately painted, of course, legendary liveries again. We're kind of making it plausible for you. Here's some important prototype or some important operating tips for you. Minimum radius on these is 22 inches. Recommended is 24. They will operate on 22. They look a little cartoonish, so we recommend a 24-inch radius. Now, likewise, where we've got the HO scale version of these cars, we also have the N scale version. Now, one disclaimer I want to show you about that car that's on your screen right now. These, I believe, are still available at most hobby shops. This is a New York Central. and its car number is 913217. One thing I want to let you guys know, though, this is the older Athearn version, so it's not going to have the Genesis upgrades that we're going to be talking about in a minute, but it gives you an idea what the finished car looks like. If you really like this attractive car, it is part number ATH 15029. Again, ATH 15029. Now, going forward, we're going to talk about these cars in Genesis. They were in Athearn, they've been upgraded to Genesis now. Now, we're going to offer the same roads that we offer in the HS scale. Just to let you know, all the same road numbers and reporting marks are the same. So I'm not going to repeat all of those. They're identical as far as road name and road numbers as the HO scale versions. We're going to offer the Frisco, the Northern Pacific, and the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy. Of course, these three here are set straight into the 1960s. However, you can run these into the 1970s. Usually by the 1980s, these were slowly being phased out or modified. For the most part, you would see these in the 1960s and 1970s. Likewise, we're going to offer the Southern unit as well. That's a 1960s car. They were one of the first railroads to start offering side protection for their autoracks. And then for legendary liveries, 1970s era, we're offering the Rock Island as well as the Norfolk Western. If you missed all of the road numbers and road names that I listed on the HO scale, don't worry. You can go to our website at athearn.com and select the new announcements tab and look for the N scale Athearn Genesis F89F Autoracks. One more thing is I didn't tell you about the details. So remember, these are being upgraded, but they all have a die-cast underframe. Now, if you model N scale, you know weight is very important for good tracking. So these have a very nice die-cast underframe. They run incredibly well. I could say, honestly, I have run these on N-track modules as well as my home layout, and I've never had any problems with their tracking. Authentic undulating railing, safety railing. Again, these, even though they're N scale, they're based on the Whitehead and Kales Autorack. They're also going to include end bridge plates for prototype and era. Now, some other important things, these have body-mounted McHenry operating scale knuckle couplers. That's a big deal in N scale. Body-mounted couplers, they just do better, especially in reverse moves. They're going to have a highly detailed deck, highly detailed injection molded body, and a minimum radius on these. You're not going to want to run these on T-track modules. Definitely can run them on N-track modules, Fremo modules, and depending on your home layout. But you got to have a minimum radius of 10 inches. We recommend 12 inches. So again, 10 inches, they're going to look kind of cartoonish. There's going to be some overhang. Your best bet is to run these on a 12-inch radius. So there it is. That's what I've got for you. Again, a reminder, everything that I talked about on this episode of Train Tuesday, you have until Friday, June 28th to get those pre-orders in. So you're going to want to go ahead and do that sooner than later. When these come in, they're probably going to go relatively quick, especially some of those roads for the GP40-2. So with that, I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Train Tuesday. Again, if you haven't done so already, comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And until next time, everyone, get out there, do some good modeling, enjoy the summer, get some rail fanning done, see your dealer about these models, and above all,